Hello and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. My name is Amy. I'm an Administrative Services Manager here at Bagot. And can you believe this is our last Wednesday before the new year? So I wanted to talk, of course, a little bit about resolutions. And we might have talked about this at the end of last year. That would require me remembering, which I don't because that was a long time ago. Anyway, I'm not a huge fan of resolutions. It's a personal thing. If you like resolutions, use that word. For me, it just feels like there's been so much how quick can you break it? Like it's almost a joke to set a resolution, right? However, I think goals are very, very important for us to have, not just in the new year, but really at any time. And what's really important about our goals is to make sure they're SMART. And that is an acronym, of course, of what that means. So SMART stands for specific. So what exactly are you trying to achieve? Measurable. How will you know when you've achieved it? Attainable. Is it actually genuinely possible to achieve it? Don't decide that, oh, I'm going to go out and run a marathon this afternoon if you haven't even so much as walked around the block in the last few years. Kind of could hurt. Relevant. Does it apply to you in your life right now and long term? Is it relevant to what you ultimately want to achieve in your life? And time bound. When do you want to achieve it by? Now, why are these important? Well, if you're not specific, I used to work for a weight loss company for many, many years, and people would come in and say, well, I want to lose weight by, the end, by next year. And I'm like, okay, well, will you be happy if you've lost 0.2 pounds? Because, that's a stick of butter. Will you be happy if that's what you lost? And it's like, of course not. I want to lose more than that. Well, be a little more specific, because to say I want to lose weight, technically, if you're down 0.2, you've lost weight, but most of us don't want that. And measurable. You do have to know when you've achieved it. You can't, again, it kind of goes back to that same thing, a little bit measurable. How do you know when you've actually achieved it? And attainable, again, very important. And relevant. Don't pick something that doesn't apply. If you don't want to lose weight this year, that's okay. It is a very typical one said, but there's so many other things that you can do. And in that, here's a couple ideas I was reading about today. Maybe you want to reduce your stress a little bit this year. You want to get more sleep, which could also go back to helping with reducing that stress. Maybe you want to just exercise a little more frequently or eat a little healthier. You want to make time for an activity that's just something that you enjoy and making that a priority, kind of that whole self-care thing. So with all of those, you want to set small steps along the way. When you jump into a goal, you don't want to go, again, I'm going to just start running today. You've got to do some little steps along the way. So maybe if you're looking to reduce stress, you start doing a little meditation, or you start a gratitude journal. You just start writing down 3 things a day that you are grateful for. And they can start as simple as, I have a roof over my head. I have food in my kitchen. And then you build on things that are a little deeper. Getting more sleep. Maybe you buy a nice new pillow that's really comfortable. Maybe you set a sleep alarm. We set an alarm to wake up. Why not set one to say, this is the time that I'm going to go to bed? Or you start a pattern where, you read a book, you put your phone away at a certain time, just start a pattern to get yourself ready to sleep. Exercise more frequently. Again, don't say, I have to go out and join a class, because sometimes that's what's overwhelming. I like to think of it as activity, just moving a little bit more, because exercise to me just feels like a 4-letter word. Again, personal thing. I understand that. But maybe it's a 10-minute walk, and often when we start that, we do a little bit more. Maybe it's just walking around the block after you eat. Maybe it is joining a class, something that you've been interested in, trying a few different things, or getting online and finding some classes that are online that give you a sample of stuff that you've been interested in. So it's just that little bit of more movement to get you started. Committing to healthy eating doesn't mean you throw away everything in your house. You can. I'm not saying you can't, but it doesn't have to mean that, because often then, I don't know about you, but for me, then I panic, like, oh, I need a piece of chocolate, I don't have any, and so then I, eat an entire bag. So it's just eating healthier. A little bit. Maybe you plan some meals for your week, and not every meal every day. 3 meals this week you plan out in advance and kind of make a menu. Maybe you just add 1 fruit or vegetable to lunch and dinner for 5 days this week. So again, it doesn't even have to be every single meal. You start out little steps along the way so that they're attainable. And then maybe with making time for an activity that makes you happy, you sign up for a class, or you get in your calendar and you mark one Saturday every month that it's like, this is open for me to do something just for me, or call a friend and schedule, a few lunches out in the future so that it's something that that you enjoy. But there's lots of different types of goals that you can set, little things to set yourself up for success in the coming year, things you really want to achieve. Maybe you already know exactly what you're wanting to do. You know what your goal is for this year, or your resolution. Again, if you like that word, you can do that. Share it with us in the comments, because one thing that helps with setting goals is making yourself a little accountable to them by telling others about them. So if you want to, you can share in the comments what your goals are for, or at least one. You don't have to share all of them. Share one of your goals for this year. I hope you have a very happy and safe new year, and we will see you again next year. Bye.